talked about White Owl, Barn Owl, and how White Owl, Barn Owl was a personal narrative. We went through all the text features of personal narratives, including small moments, vivid detail, fictional elements. It's a story about the author, character, setting, figurative language. All of these things made White Owl, Barn Owl a personal narrative, right? Well, today we're going to take that one step further, and we're going to take a super close look at one of the big text features in personal narratives. One of the things authors do to keep readers interested and wanting to read more is they reveal important information about the main character. They may also say things that maybe shock us or confuse us and that make us feel sympathy for the character. When the author reveals important information about the character, they want the readers to notice. They want us to feel a certain way about it being revealed. The author always has a message for us, readers, when he or she has important information to reveal to us. So we're going to take a closer look at what that means. Okay? So in our book, the very first page, we have, within the first 3 lines, what is it for, Grandpa? So Grandpa's carrying this big wooden box, and the child says, what is it for, Grandpa? That's the first question. Then the grandpa tells her, and then she asks another one, what barn owls? And then he tells her. So that's 2 questions. How do you know there are barn owls here? Next page. There's another question, and then he says, I've seen one. So then he answers it. That's on the next page. Will the owl come to our box tonight? That's on the next page. And then he answers her. So you can see that our character, the child, the information that we can gather from the text is that they like to ask questions. And the message that the author's trying to get to us is curiosity. Okay? This is the perfect place for the child to be curious. She's with her grandpa. It's a safe place. She's asking all these questions. She's curious. The author wants the reader to be curious about barn owls. Okay? So the author looks at this story and is writing this story, and they're writing the child because they want the reader to be curious about barn owls. They want the reader to ask questions about barn owls. The second character we see is Grandpa. Okay? Grandpa, if the child asks the questions, the grandpa will say answers the questions. Okay? So if the child is asking the questions, the grandpa's answering the questions. Therefore, the child is curious, and the grandfather is the teacher. He has all the knowledge. He's answering all her questions. I don't know if they'll come out tonight. I saw one in a tree. Barn owls like to nest in closed areas. This is what I saw. This is what I know. And then even throughout the story, even when the barn owl appears, Grandpa does things to help the barn owl get closer. So he's the one that's filled with the answers. So as the reader, we are asking questions, and we identify with the child, and the author identifies with the grandfather because he has the answers. Okay, the next thing we notice about the child is how the progression takes place, right? So at first, the child is asking questions. Will the owls come out tonight? I don't know. Owls are wild birds. We'll have to be patient. So then the child slowly moves from being curious. So then they start to go out. We have to be patient. We're patient lots of times. I thought we'd never see an owl. And then one spring night, just as the sky went pink, a pale face looked out of our box. It was an owl. Then it gets better. I just held my breath. That's what the author says. I just held my breath. That's what the child says in the story. She says it right there. I just held my breath. And the author is trying to reveal to us that now the child has moved from being curious to being excited. She is excited. She's holding her breath. She's waiting to see the owl. It's getting closer. She's excited about it. Then the grandpa does all of these fun things to get the owl come closer. And we see this tiny moment stretched out as she starts to describe the owl. Lots of figurative language comes in as she's describing the owl. It looks like an angel. And then the grandfather starts to reveal. So then we have grandpa here again. And he starts to talk about family and how the owl has a family. And how the grandpa says, you know, I think it might. He holds her hand. He smiles at her while he answers. He holds her hand. And the author creates this just beautiful picture at the end where the grandfather has given all this knowledge to her. He's had her curious, and from her curiosity, he got her excited. He's probably excited about owls. He likes owls, so now she's excited about owls. And now he has this very strong sense of family. And that's the author's message that they want you to take away from that. He is so excited that she is excited about barn owls. He's excited that she has this curiosity. He was answering her questions, and now they are smiling. They're holding hands as they're walking back to the house. You know, I think they might. They're family now. They've made this beautiful house for these owls. The grandpa and the child are going back to the house. The owl, the mate, and all the little family, the little owls' families are back in the house. And that's just this great sense of family that the author has now created. These are all things that the author does to get you to know who the characters are. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go back and you're going to reread Saturdays and Tea Cakes. And you're going to do something similar to this. You're going to look for messages that the author reveals. Maybe in Saturdays and Tea Cakes, you get a strong sense of the little boy wanting family, liking family. How does the author reveal that? Do they ask a lot of questions? What do you get a sense of from Saturdays and Tea Cakes? And you can write sentences or you can create a little graph like this. But you need to then reread and look for all these kind of characteristics in Saturdays and Tea Cakes. Bye, guys.